Hi, everybody, and welcome to the webinar where we are going to run through our latest and greatest kits feature recently released. I still see the attendee list growing pretty quickly here, so I'm just going to give people 30 seconds to log in. This is going to be a fairly short webinar for those of you who have already joined and have connected to the audio. I really feel like Kits is such an amazing feature, and it's so simple to use and deploy that it doesn't take that much time to actually demonstrate it. So let's just hold for a couple more seconds because I still see the attendee numbers growing, and then we will get started. So let's say 30 seconds from now. I lied. I did a 15-second timer. I see the numbers have kind of stopped increasing. So if anybody missed my witty or funny intro, then they're lost. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This is the first webinar going over Rivery Kits. And I want to thank everybody for joining and give a special shout out to our speakers today, Vardit, Jonasz, our VP of Product, and Taylor McGrath, our Head of Customer Solutions. They're really going to lead this webinar, show you how kits kind of came to be, and then Taylor's going to dive right in and show you how easy it is to use a kit, to deploy it inside Rivery, and really get going, I think, at lightning speed. I've never seen anything like this in all my time kind of in tech about how easy it is to do a process that's so complex. So let's just dive right in. What we're going to do is we are going to introduce you to what is a kit, because a kit is actually many, many things and many complex processes, which I think you guys all use day in and day out, but we've taken a look at kind of what the overall workflow is and built a complete kit for you guys to deploy. Taylor's going to take you on a guided tour of the kits. We're going to show you how they work. We're going to show you how to customize it. We're going to tell you how you can request your own kits should you want. And we will have some time at the end for Q&A. So if you have questions, please put them into the chat. Sorry, into the question and answer version on your Zoom. And I will get to them at the end during the Q&A session. I'd also like to just say quickly for all of our attendees that this webinar is recorded. So if you would like to have a copy afterwards to share with your team, that we will make it available. And we're all about sharing the knowledge. So with that being said, I will turn it over to my very esteemed colleague. Sorry, one thing. Let me just tell you quickly about Rivery. Most of the people on this webinar are our customers. I think there are some people considering in the consideration phase as well about using Rivery as their data ingestion and transformation platform. We've been around now since late 2019. We're growing rapidly as a business. We have a huge customer base, and we're so happy that all of you guys are so loyal and very happy with the product. Our mission really is to help you control your data. And I think that nothing really says more about that mission than what you're about to see today, in that we want to make it as easy as possible to get from data connector to actual data in your warehouse that you can build insights and do all the fun stuff and machine learning and AI that you want to. So really, our focus and our goals are to give you control, to speed up the agility of your data teams, to let you scale up as quickly as possible, and to make it as easy as possible. We were founded by former solution architects and consultants who have done these processes over and over and over again, and we are very much workflow conscious and building, a platform where all of your data control is here in a centralized place. So with that being said, I will now hand it over to Vardit to dive into what is a kit.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Ari. So what is a kit? A kit is essentially a fully built data model that includes everything you need to get from data to insights instantly. The kits that we have built so far and the kits that we focus on solve the most common use cases that we see and hear every day from our existing clients. So a kit, when you look at it, the kit includes everything from data capture, ingesting data from a single or multiple sources, pushing the data to your data warehouse, creating the destination tables and data and metadata for you, including all the logic to transform and prep your data. And if you need to even schedule the cadence of running this process. Lots of benefits come to mind, but the main benefit is obviously rapid time to value. Kits are tried and true data models that includes all the know-how of our amazing customer solutions team that are doing it every day. They're building thousands of data models every day for our clients. And the kits are really the best practices. Like, this is what we've learned. This is what we do. Here, we hand it to you to use instantly. Another benefit is the ability to further customize. So once you use a kit, you select a kit, you preview, and you decide that that's the kit you want to use, it creates a copy of the data model in your account that it's completely customizable. So you can add entities, you can change the logic, you can change the schedule, you can do everything from that moment on. So when you think of it, it all starts from a single pipeline. Let's say from Salesforce, we ingest data from Salesforce, we build a table and have all the integration and managing the tables for you. But a kit can also be an entire environment with hundreds of rivers across different use cases. This is unlikely, but possible. Kits are that flexible. So kits can be as flexible as a single pipeline, a data model, or maybe your entire environment. This is a snapshot of our kit, and really you can see we have many kits cover many use cases. Some of them are small. I'll get into it in a second. We've really identified three main use cases in our for kits. The first one is single source kit, multi-source kit, and new sources, which is my personal favorite. Single source kit are for sources that are popular, very popular, but not necessarily easy to manage. There is complexity to them. For instance, when we look at Facebook ads, they have many entities, many metrics, many reports, and you don't really want to create the wheel there or create it from scratch. And you can simply, use a kit and get instant time to value here. The second use case is multi-source kit, and that really organized around popular use cases such as social media or event management or mobile app attribution, cases like that where you have multiple sources so for example, we have a kit in our GitHub that's for B2C social media that include Facebook, Snap, Twitter. You can think also of Instagram that can be added there, but it's a kit that consolidate this data and centralize all the data into your data warehouse and having it ready for visualization and insights. And the third one, the last but not least, which is my personal favorite, is new sources. And this is for business applications that we don't support natively yet. As long as they have a REST API interface, we can build a kit around it. And it's flexible, so it can ingest data or push data. Examples here are Pendo, a kit for Pendo and kit for Intercom that we are planning to build very soon. But until then, we've built a kit around them. So the possibilities there are unlimited, and we're adding more and more kits every day. And you can also request kits. So this is our GitHub. You're welcome to take a look. But with that, I'd like to pass it over to Taylor, our head of customer solution, to show you how it all works.
Great. Thank you, Vardit. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here to show you the first live demo of Kits here. So let me share my screen. Okay, hopefully you can all see that. So what I'm showing now is our GitHub. So this is kind of the full repository of kits. Each of these icons or thumbnails represents a different kit and the corresponding target or data warehouse that kit was built with. There's a number of categories of how we organize these. You can also just search directly for a specific kit if you're like looking for a specific source or use case or target even. And each of these essentially have their own option to dig further in and preview what is included in that kit. So if I choose to use this, what am I going to get? This example that I'll walk through today with Facebook ads is a couple of different parts. So this is a single source use case where included in it is the means for data ingestion from Facebook ads. So all of our Facebook ads entities, the corresponding insights report to actually pull metrics, and then also the logic piece. So that is the transformations that we will run against the raw data that comes out of Facebook ads. For anyone familiar with Facebook ads, there's a lot of kind of semi-structured data that comes out of this in JSON arrays that requires parsing to be done to kind of get that in a structured format for easiest consumption downstream by our common BI reporting dashboarding tools. So if I'm a user and browsing this kit and previewing it, kind of seeing, okay, what does this kit include? There's also some directions on how to configure this, which we'll walk through in real time. And then also kind of a visual of, what do I expect to get? So the actual deliverable of this kit is, a fully fledged data model for Facebook ads for this source. So I can see kind of at a high level, the tables that I will get downstream in my target. In this case, it's Snowflake. And then also I can see kind of the high level flow. So, what are the reports that we're pulling from Facebook? What are the tables that those are going to create? And kind of the final, how does that work to create our final, fact table in this case, to kind of connect all of the pieces of our metrics from Facebook as well as the different levels of entities that we're pulling. Also, all of our kits, if there are any additional questions that you have, even after you use them or before you use them, you can kind of click this link. It will bring you to essentially a calendar invite where you can just set up a meeting with someone on my team, so we can in real time kind of talk about the use case and any additional questions you have about a specific kit and what that includes. So without further ado, I will go ahead and start this. So I'm going to click Use Kit. What this is doing is, like Vardit said, it's creating a copy of all of these pre-configured, predefined rivers with our Rivery best practices, data best practices for this source, and it's moving that into this account. For the purposes of this demo, it's a brand new kind of blank account. So I'm going to go ahead and click View Rivers. This will bring me directly to the rivers that have been imported. So what you're seeing here is a couple different things. We have the Facebook ads, the data source to target rivers that were imported, as well as the corresponding logic that in this case both orchestrates and further transforms the Facebook raw data that we will get from the data source to target rivers themselves. So first, I'm going to just click into this logic and show you what this includes. And then I'll go ahead and set up our connections so we can actually run this. So what you're seeing here is a logic river. This may look a little familiar for those that are existing Rivery users, but for those maybe that's the first time they are seeing this interface, a logic is what allows for us to create a workflow that can both orchestrate and transform our data. So right here at the top, we're seeing this gray container is holding a bunch of different what we call logic steps that are actually executing or triggering our existing rivers to run. So you'll notice these are the same processes that we're importing during the kit download. So what these are doing is this is set to run in parallel. So it's basically just pulling all of these reports against Facebook simultaneously. And then kind of the real, I'd say, value of this kit is the downstream logic that we're doing. So this is a pre-built query that is already pre-parameterized to minimize any kind of manual intervention that needs to happen just to get this up and running. But like I've already mentioned as well, once these rivers are copied into your account, they are yours to use, to however you desire to customize them further. So this is kind of doing all of the snowflake logic to parse out a bunch of different metrics from Facebook that come out in a semi-structured format and create kind of a master view or fact table for your Facebook ads insights. So with that said, I'm gonna go over to my connections and set these up. So first I'll go ahead and set up my connection to Facebook. So I'll log into Facebook here. I can remember my password. All right, cool. I'll save that. And then Snowflake is the other one I have to set up. So this is, again, kind of a demo Snowflake environment we have here. So we'll just fill out the values here. But I think also just a good example of, how quickly you can set up connections to our targets as well. So there we go. I'll save that connection. So at this point, I'm going to go back into the logic now and just go ahead and run this. And before I start that, I do want to show you the target Snowflake environment. So this right now is a database called demo new. It is completely empty. We don't have anything predefined here. So what I'll do is go back to the logic and go ahead and start running it. Some of these tables will take a little longer just because they have some historical metric data, but some of them should run and complete pretty quickly. So once those do, we can see in real time the tables that are created on the Snowflake side. So we'll wait a few seconds here. Some of these should complete pretty quickly. But again, this is kind of what we just did was use the kit, which downloaded or copied these predefined reports and rivers into our account, set up the connections. Everything behind the scenes is already kind of pre-configured for us to minimize any other sort of manual intervention. And so you'll see some of these have already completed, which is great. So now I can go into Snowflake, refresh it, and show you those tables that are created. So all of that for us in terms of like defining, keys for upsert merge, setting up incremental loading, all of that is kind of taken off the hands of the user and built into these template solutions. So this example was for a single source use case where, we're pulling from Facebook ads, we're doing all transformations directly on the Facebook ads, raw data that we just pulled. But in addition to that, like Vardit mentioned, there are kits across use cases, meaning I can pull from, I'll get rivers that are ingestion rivers from a myriad of different sources, and then logic to standardize those outputs and combine them into one data model. And same with the third type of use case, which is our kind of our use case where we can build kits on top of our actions capability, or our custom connector capability, where these are, not even native sources yet in our tool, but we have essentially a, an offering to provide a solution for those via kits. And yeah, that's really all I wanted to show, is the kind of how quick you can use one, set up the connections, and get up and running with with the data model here. So yeah, thank you for watching that. I'll hand it back over to Ari.
Thanks, Taylor. Actually, I'm going to ask you to keep sharing your screen because
Sure.
I think there's some questions coming in the Q&A, which might be useful to jump back into the platform and just show people live. Before I do, though, I will put out a call for questions. If people have questions, we have a bunch already coming in. If you shoot them over into like the little Q&A tab on the bottom of your Zoom strip, we will get them and I will read them aloud for everybody. We have some questions. So while I'm waiting for those to come in, I would like to ask you guys a question, actually 2 questions. We are constantly working on expanding the size of our kit hub, our kit library, and we're working on new kits all the time. One thing that we're working on as well is, giving you guys the ability to request new kits. Very soon, we're going to announce our partner program, where all of our SI partners can request the ability to start creating kits for us and work with our CS team to develop them, have them checked, and then upload it into the system. As well as if you are a current customer and there's a specific kit that you want to see, I will paste into chat very shortly the link where you can, it's a form to fill out and put in your kit requests for us. But my first question for you is, what kits would you like to see prioritized? It's a 2-part question. The first one is, what single source kits? What multi-source kits? I got that wrong. What multi-source kits would you like to see added to the Kit Hub next? Please just, pick your top answers. This is very important feedback for us. I'll give you guys like 5 seconds to click and tell us what you like. And my second part of the question is poll number 2, is what single source kits would you like? What are some of the more complicated data connectors that are pretty common, I think, to you, that are challenging, that we can, build quickly and help you deploy even quicker? Alex, can you launch poll number 2? Okay, we need 1 second on the second poll. While we're waiting for people to fill in the poll, and we will launch a second poll in a second. There we go. Single source kits, Salesforce, NetSuite, Shopify, Stripe, ServiceNow. Let us know what your top priorities are. If you don't see something on either one of those questions, I will put in the link very shortly into the chat where you can request directly from us. In terms of questions, let me start with a question. I think this one probably best for Vardit. Do you have kits for all the data warehouses? Like, I know this was very specific, the demo for Snowflake. Vardit, what's your answer?
Yes, so great question. The initial kit we build is basically based on the client that has requested it and the data warehouse that they're using and they've asked for. However, tweaking it and supporting other data warehouse we can support other data warehouses very quickly. So if you see a kit that you like, but it's on Snowflake and you're using BigQuery and you'd like to convert it, first thing you can do is really use the kit and then just change the destination to yours, and you can do the tweaking. As we said before, you have complete customization capability once you use a kit, or you can submit a request to us and we very quickly can create a kit with your destination warehouse.
Okay, great. Second question. People are asking, where can they see the documentation for each kit? And maybe Taylor, if you want to just pop open the platform and show them. I know you kind of went over it a little bit with the Facebook one, but just show them a little more in depth.
Sure. Yeah. 1 second. So let me share my screen again. So at a high level, there are in our public docs, we have, kind of what are kits, how to, generally implement them. Some FAQs there. And then in terms of individual kits, it will be in the Kit Hub. So this is available in our console as well as our website. So you can see exactly what a kit includes. A lot of these have extra links where we will, down to the actual column level, kind of give insight into what is coming out of each report. And they also will have some visual of, like a high level entity relationship diagram to see how even all of the output tables relate to one another. And again, any extra questions, feel free to just set up a meeting using this link that's on every single kit. And it will be, a meeting directly with a solutions engineer on my team.
Okay, awesome. Another question for Taylor coming from the audience is, and there's actually a couple questions about setting the date ranges from target rivers created by kits.
Yeah, great question. So the default right now is that we start from the beginning of the year, and they are pre-configured to then go incrementally or only pull the delta. But with that said, the UI flow that I showed, we do have a lot of enhancements we want to make to this. One being surfacing to the user things that they can predefine before the actual import itself. So that is if there are existing connections that you'd want to use and have that automatically synced up with your kit, as well as predefining what that start date will be across all of your rivers. So yeah, great question.
Another question is, what is the default extract method for the kits? And maybe
so we use best practices here. So we are doing upsert merge and presetting all of the keys to go along with those merge methods. So same with kind of pulling best practice on the side of pulling from the source is making that incremental to only pull the delta to optimize for the time of these runs as well as your consumption in the product. And then on the target side, or actually loading data into the target, it'll be upsert merge to kind of only change anything that is new to the target table or anything that's been modified.
Another amazing question here, but probably my favorite, is when are kits going to be available? Vardit, you want to take this one really quick?
Yeah, they're available now. So when you log into your account, you can see in the top right, where next to your account icon, you can see a kit hub, and clicking on it, you'll see our all the kits that are available to use right now.
Another question, and maybe this is for the roadmap, but somebody's asking, is there a kit level credit calculator in order to preview and get an idea of what imported rivers would cost in terms of credits?
I think that's a great question. I think that's absolutely something we can add to the preview of each kit is, along with the list of what's included, what the estimated total RPUs per scheduled run would be. Yeah.
Another very good question here. These are amazing questions. Great audience today. Will Rivery handle changes from the source to downstream data models?
So yes. So basically, just like we handle kind of upgrades to APIs for our native sources. Those will in turn then trickle, down to kits and accounting for those as well. And yeah.
And how are kits going to handle schema changes, as long as we're on the update sort of line of questioning?
So once you import a kit into your account, those are copied rivers with essentially those schemas set in place for the, I guess, duration of the runs. Again, they can be customized further once they're there. So if you would like to remove fields or change the names of fields, all of that is very possible. And then basically what we will handle is any schema changes that come directly, from the source, and kind of build that, update those kits.
Another question. If we update a kit, will there be any way to know like the version or kind of the deltas between like the last version and the new version of the kits?
Yeah, so the plan is to treat this essentially like our sources in the product. So if there is a change, to have a running history of those changes. Right now we do that both in our community. We have essentially like release notes for any updates there, as well as kind of anything new in the product in the what we call our resource center, which is like the bottom right icon in the console.
And I think the last one here, and it's a great question, is how do we envision using kits with deployments between environments?
Another good one. I think what's great about kits is they are already, a lot of the I guess, best practices for using rivers with environments are built into kits already. So they are already parameterized in terms of, using variables for the target databases and target schema names. So what's nice about that is you can just leverage those existing variables in your deployments. If let's say you want to use start with the kit in a development or sandbox environment and deploy that across to higher environments.
Okay, actually there's one late question just came in. Somebody actually tried to deploy a kit during the webinar, which is amazing. Taylor, can you just open up the rivers and show people how to find the rivers created by a kit once it's been deployed?
Sure, yes. So once you deploy a kit initially, you should get the pop-up, and then once the rivers are there, there's an option to a button to say view rivers. Even if you close out of that, if you go into your rivers, you will see the rivers themselves. They should be the most recent, and then the groups themselves. We name all of these groups with from kits, so that you are aware that it came from kits. And also the connections should have from kits in them as well. So you're aware that those connections are what were imported into your account from, this kits mechanism.
One last question. Can you show the environment variables that were set up when you created the kit?
Yeah, definitely. So the variables in this particular kit for Facebook are for the target database and the target schema. And so if I were to then deploy these, I could utilize these variables across different environments so that, FB ads DB could be demo new in this default environment, but maybe in a production environment, it's called something else. And I can manage that in my, environments manager page where there's a variable matrix.
So I'd like to add a few things. So what's coming up with kits is Taylor mentioned, to really focus on time to value. We want you to, once you use kit, to be able to guess the next thing you do is run. So we are working now on being able to, when you click use the kit, to set your connections, variable, all the popular presets that you would need. So once you use a kit and it's in your account, it already has everything you need to run it. A second thing that's coming up very soon this summer is the ability for you to build a kit. So you can, let's say you have a popular use case, or maybe you are an agency and you have multiple accounts and you want to create a kit that then other accounts can use. You'll be able to build your own kit, and the process basically, once you build a kit and fill out all the needed information, the documentation, it goes through a verification and testing process that our customer solution make sure the docs are there, everything works as expected, and everything is configured, the variables, everything is ready. And once it's ready, they will publish it. And once it's published as a kit, it can be used across any of our accounts. So that's coming up summer, so very, very soon. Ari, back to you. Ari, you are on mute, I think.
Thank you, Vardit. While Vardit was talking, I put up the webpage. It's also a link in the chat for everybody to see to request a kit. I just want to thank everybody for joining. I see a lot more questions coming in, but I think this is a great time to stop. And a lot of the questions coming in, I think, are very specific to kind of your needs as our customers. So I would highly encourage you to go into the platform, look at the top right, the star for the kits, play around, or request a meeting with our customer success team to really help you find the right solutions and customize kits, help you deploy them, or request from us. So on behalf of the Rivery team today, I just want to say thank you for joining. We look forward to expanding the Kit Hub. We have a very, very busy roadmap, so stay tuned. There's a lot of cool features coming out in the near future. We have recorded this webinar. You should get a copy of it tomorrow. Please stay in touch, and we really value your support and feedback.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Everyone.